Hey everybody, welcome back to Let's Play The Binding of Isaac Rebirth. I'm Nye, and, well, things. So, in going through my recordings the other morning, basically this morning, I noticed that an episode 2 episodes ago got deleted somehow. Well, not as much deleted, it got corrupted somehow. I'm not really sure exactly what happened, but unfortunately, we lost some data. Tech point 5 is amazing, and I love it. We lost some data. I really wish that hadn't happened, but there's not really too much I can do about it, as much as I hate to say it. You know, I'm assuming that something went wrong mid-recording, like some... Oh, that was stupid. Oh, damn it. I was looking at the freaking worms, just trying to make sure I didn't get killed by them. That's lovely. But yeah, I was looking, okay. Looking through, I noticed that some data got lost. So, you didn't miss anything out of that episode, for those who are curious. Basically what ended up happening is, I ended up doing a lot of lost runs and talking. So, let's talk. So, about 2 episodes ago, I was ranting, or something close to it, right? I ended off, about to tell a story about a customer, and ended up just kind of not doing so. And I've actually had people ask me, you know, have I, like the OG gangster kid on Mario Kart. I had someone ask about that at one point and said, you know, did this ever happen again? And wanted to know, you know, was this a thing that had occurred a second time? And no, it hasn't. You know, I am sure those kids have come back a couple of times, and no, it never really happened again. But, thought I'd talk about another one that really kind of caught me off guard. So, you know, at work, I get a lot of, people coming in with broken merchandise. And what's interesting about this merchandise is it may not be broken because of us. And, you know, as an emporium of new and used gaming devices and games, we occasionally have items that are used and that do not work, and you know that happens. And I'd like to defend, you know, the company I work for and say, you know, we do all we can. The thing is, we do. You cannot test a game 100% thoroughly in the amount of time we have. It's just not doable. We can't. That require playing through the entire game, right? And that's just it's not a thing that we can do. We cannot play through literally 100% of your game for you to make sure that everywhere you go, no matter what, that your game's going to work. Not only is that unrealistic in terms of a time thing, but I don't think it even works anyways. Like, as a, Curse Die, I don't think it even works. I don't think you can even do that. I mean, you know, we can't even guarantee a brand new one is going to work 100% of the time. So how are we gonna do a used one? So, you know, we have our guarantee, and yeah, generally that's pretty good. So, you know, this kid comes in, and he comes in with his PS3 and a copy of Batman and Arkham City, and you know, kid after my own heart. For being very little of a comic book kid when I was his age, you know, I very much like the Batman games. Have had a ton of fun with them. 100% into Arkham City, Arkham Asylum. And the only thing stopping me from doing the same thing with Arkham City is the fact that I hate Catwoman. I hate her levels. I hate how she controls. She is the least enjoyable character in the entire game to me. So, whoa, no, well, that sucked. She's just the least enjoyable character in the game to me, and I think it's just that she's so... You end up going into her levels, and she's just so weak compared to Batman, and it's not as a, you know, this character is a weak character. No, it's that you've spent time playing as Batman and leveling him up, and yes, you have been given the ability to do the same thing to Catwoman, but you're not playing as her, so why would you as a player... you know, say, oh, hey, I should probably upgrade Catwoman. I should probably give her some extra armor. No, you're going to say I'm playing as Batman. Let me give Batman some extra armor. I haven't played as Catwoman in 5 hours. and then you play as Catwoman and you get killed. So, I've just grown to not like Catwoman in that game. And unfortunately, I have a Catwoman section that I got forced to play because Catwoman, and I didn't enjoy it, so I'm currently not playing Batman. There you go. Which is a shame, because, as I said, the game's good. So he comes in with Batman, and it's not working, and, he is of the opinion that it not working must be the system. Now, I'm not 100% sure how he came to that conclusion. He had corrupt data, is what he told me. Corrupted data can happen, most commonly on PS3s, and I think this is a very common issue because I see this happen all the damn time. I talk to people about it literally every week, but I don't know how common the issue actually is. But I find that the PS3 seems to have a habit of failing its installs about 1 out of every 10 times. And so this may or may not be true. This may or may not be a valid observation. If it isn't, this is my observation, and I am kind of labeling it as such. This is not a... I'm not guaranteeing this. Let's put it that way. So, so I thought, he's saying that at the same point every time, it freezes. And this is consistent with what I know of bad installations, that they consistently freeze at the same time every time. So I kind of ask what he and his dad have done about it, and because the first thing I ask every customer is, have you called Sony, or have you called insert manufacturer here? Because you may be on the Xbox, you may be on the Wii. So I'm going to ask you. Have you called the manufacturer? Have you gone to tech support? And I know people hate tech support. Don't assume that I don't know. Believe me, I understand. You hate tech support as much as I do. Everybody hates calling tech support because those guys are not understanding. They don't try to help. Most of the time. I've had some really awesome tech support, but generally I have to. It's the second or third call when I'm upset. That's when I get the awesome guy. It's not the first time most of the time. And again, there are exceptions. There are exceptions to everything. So, they called tech support, and supposedly tech support told them the same thing I was going to tell them, which is go and uninstall the game, don't touch your save data, just uninstall the game, and then just reinstall it immediately afterwards. It doesn't hurt your save data, it reinstalls the game, and this can help corrupt data. So apparently tech support told them that, and what I don't know, the kid he's maybe 11, he's one of my regular customers, so I've had him in before, and, I think I'll stay with the stars. He's maybe 11 or so, and I've seen him in my store before. Him coming in is not uncommon. I think I even sold him that PS... Oh, that was stupid of me. I think I even sold him the PS3 in question. So, oh, well, this is... Yeah, I'm just gonna... Let's just leave Super Gluttony as it is, and we'll move on. So I think I even sold the PS3. So, I know the kid. Anyways, he had done the whole tech support thing, which is good. I like it when customers do the tech support thing first, because usually their question is answered by someone who knows a lot more than I do. And, I have happy customers. They don't... Typically, if you call tech support first, you don't even get to me. You never even get back to the store because tech support solved the problem for you. It wasn't even a thing you needed me for. So I always ask first. And typically, people don't give me a good answer. Good answer being, yes, I called tech support first, and, I'm still having this issue, so I need to use a return policy. So he comes in with this Batman and tells me it's freezing constantly in the same spot. I check to see if he's called tech support. He has. And he is somehow convinced that the reason the Batman isn't working is because... I just misplayed that. The reason the Batman isn't working is that there is some sort of issue with the hard drive on his PlayStation. Now, I really don't know where he came to that conclusion. Because, yes, you have corrupt data, but... corrupt data does not mean it's a hard drive issue. That means you have corrupt data. It's exactly what it says. The data is where you're having problems. It's not the PlayStation. Not necessarily, at least. What made the data could be a problem. So if the PlayStation has made corrupt data by not reading correctly, that's one thing. But, don't jump to conclusions. So... I said, well, I said, well, most commonly the issue would be the disk if you've already tested tested the install, so probably the best thing to do is replace the disk. And that's what I normally would do. I would just replace the disc, we go from there, and that'd be about it. I'd say have a nice day, give him his new disc, and he'd head on his way. The dad, though, was not exactly okay with this result, and he said, you know what, would you mind testing it for us? Because I guess the dad was also of the opinion that the system was broken, and, all the power to him. And if he's of that opinion, I can definitely help him out. So I said, okay, well, we'll see what we can do. So he said, would you mind testing this disc for me so we can say it's not the disc? And I said, sure. So I took the disc, and I took one look at this disc, and I knew, it was the disc. Thing had scratches all over the back of it. It had scratches on the label, and that's where the date is. So, there was no doubt in my mind that the reason these lovely folks were having a bad time was because this disc was broken. And I told the dad as much. Look, I would not have sold you this under any circumstances. This is ridiculous. And he said, okay. But we tested the disc anyways because he wanted me to, and, why not? So we tested the disc, and lo and behold, on a new PS3, so I pulled a PS3 out of the back to test it with, so that way he wouldn't have to deal with it. And lo and behold, it didn't work. Obviously, the disc was a problem. It didn't even install. Luck down. Luck up. And telepills. Neat. So, test the disc. Didn't work. Oh, no. And so I said, okay, well, this looks like it's the disc. Now, the kid did not handle this very well. He was very upset by me concluding that the disc was the problem. So he started crying. Now, keep in mind, this is an 11-year-old boy, so I'm not expecting, and it's more his age than anything that really caught me by surprise, so I wasn't expecting tears over the concept that it's not his PlayStation that's the problem, it's the disc. Actually, typically I would expect, happiness. Oh, good. My $180 PlayStation is not what's broken. I don't have to use the $20 warranty. I'm fine. He's going to replace the disc for free. It's good. But he was in tears, and his dad, obviously aware of, his son's plight and the source of it, told me that, my son has Asperger's, and, this happens. And I could tell he was about to lead himself into some sort of explanation of Asperger's. And so, I said, look, man, you don't have to explain it to me. I have had several friends who have had Asperger's. I kind of understand what the deal is. So, don't worry about it. We're good. And the dad kind of nodded. He was glad he didn't have to explain. And I was definitely weirded out, not by the kid, because, come on, I have had friends who have had Asperger's, and I'm not going to pretend I'm a psychiatrist. I'm not going to pretend that I really understand. But from what I have led to understand from just such one of my friends who, wow, we get scissors so much. From one of my friends who does have Asperger's, the way he described it, and he is the best source for me of information in this, so I would like to take him at face value, is that it ends up with him being very logical, having very logical thought, being incredibly intelligent, which, I am 100% in agreement with. When knowing my friend, he is very, very intelligent. Being a very intelligent person, being very logical, but having a lot of trouble really not only dealing with social situations, but also dealing with that logic failing, especially in a social situation. For one example, my friend, if you lied to him for any reason, so, if you, little white lies on up, it didn't matter. If you told him an untruth, no matter how mundane, he considered the friendship to be null and void. And I never really figured out exactly why. It was just one of his quirks, but I never figured out exactly why. But, it was what I gathered off of a long-time friendship with him, and among other people with Asperger's, was just that whole social... I don't want to use the word ineptitude, but that's kind of, the issue there. It's just being unable to understand the social situation. That's what I always gathered. Now, that may or may not actually be true. As I said, I don't know. I'm not going to pretend to be an expert, but I kind of, had the understanding of, okay, well, from what I know of this issue, He's probably upset because he came to the logical conclusion that the game, or that the system was the problem, and I just outright shut him down. Well, that sucked. I just outright shut him down and said, no, that's not the case. This is not it. Now, I couldn't really apologize over it because it probably wasn't it probably wasn't the system at the time. Like, it was, we were looking at everything, and everything, was pointing to the disc being the problem. But the weird thing, it's not that it wasn't the kid crying that really got my attention and kind of weirded me out about this whole situation. It wasn't the fact that there was, that I had an autistic kid in my store, because for some reason, I don't know why, but the area that I work in has a lot of autistic kids. I get them in my store all the time, and most of them, we get along just fine. The parents typically warn me ahead of time, because apparently this is apparently a lot of people don't treat people like human beings, is what I gather, which really upsets me, to be honest. But they feel the need to warn me, and all I have to hear is the word autistic, and I go, okay, well, let's play this by ear then, and we'll see what happens. Because generally, it doesn't require any more than just, God damn it, treat this person with respect, and there's not a problem. Give you an example. One of my mom's beau at the moment is a psychiatrist, and we were discussing this very same story. And he told me about I guess a summer camp for Asperger's patients that he had once. Anti-gravity is just going to get me killed. But he told me, like, a summer camp, and in the summer camp you would wear you wore a ribbon. And the ribbon kind of signified what you're okay with. So if you were wearing a green ribbon, touching is okay. You're allowed to touch. If you wore a yellow ribbon, touching is okay, but only if this person knows you. If you're handshaking because you're old friends, then it's okay. And there's the red ribbon that said you cannot touch. And I can kind of understand this, but where I get kind of... The question I end up coming up with is, how about we just fall under the rule that let's just not touch someone until you know them in the first place, and then they will let you know if touching is okay? Do we need ribbons for this? And maybe we do. I don't know. But it was just one of those, like, this should be just kind of a basic thing. Now, keep in mind, this was... a bunch of different... This was a camp for Asperger's patients. A camp for the autistic. So, I guess that was meant more for counselors, so they knew who was okay with what. I guess. But it was kind of one of those... I was having this thought of just... Do you need warning? Perhaps just ask? I don't see why that's so hard. But, I digress. So, a lot of parents, they'll warn me, and I'll sit there wondering, do I need the warning? Is there a reason that you need to warn me about your child? How about I just treat your child like a human being, like a person, and we work from there? Does that sound like a decent idea? And I don't know if this is bizarre to, some of these parents, but it seems like that is a weird thing for them, to have someone who just treats their kids like human beings. So, no. Not a big deal, right? So what really weirded me out about the whole situation was when the dad starts getting angry at the kid and was saying stuff like, if you don't stop crying, we're going to go home and he won't fix it at all. And I'm sitting there going, don't tell him that. Like, that's shitty parenting to begin with, but not for a kid who you've already stated that special consideration needs to be taken here. And, you were about to define what this is to me. Shouldn't you know too? I mean, let's ignore the fact that this is shitty parenting, just getting on some kid's case because he's upset, not being understanding. Because you can say, look, this is not a crying thing. That's how my mom used to do it, right? Like, you don't need to cry over this. There's no need for tears over being told you were wrong. And the dad, I'll give this to the dad. He kind of went in that direction. He said stuff like, why are you crying? He's telling you, he's giving you information, you should be listening. But he came at it from this very combative stance of, if you don't wisen up, you're going to lose. We're just going to leave. You're going to lose this opportunity, and you just won't. We just won't fix it. I don't understand that. I don't get that. Why that would be that's how you feel that you should handle this. It just doesn't. I don't know. It just doesn't ring true to me. Like even as a kind of the normal concept of not only parenthood but just how to treat people. Why? I don't understand. What was really terrible about it, so the kid's upset, obviously, and I can understand that. I would be upset too. Like, if I was in that situation, I would probably be that same kid when I was a kid who was going, oh, I thought I knew, I thought I had it all planned out, and he's telling me I'm wrong, and oh, this is terrible. Like, I would have been that same kid, even without Asperger's, not even talking about, that, but I would have been that same kid going, oh my god, I was so sure I had this. Like, I would have been that same kid. So, I really just, I don't get it. Any kid is going to be upset when they're sure they've gotten it, and someone's like, I'm sorry, you're wrong. And the really sad thing that ended up happening is we tested the disc, and the disc was just terrible. Like, I would not have sold this kid this disc. I don't know how it passed, the do I think this will play test, because that's the test we use, right? Like, it's not this huge thing. It's the do I think that this game will work? That's the question. That's the question we have to ask ourselves at my job, is do I think this game will work? If I think it'll work, great, let's sell it. If I don't think it'll work, okay, I gotta go fix it. And that's it. There are certain things that can't be fixed. Label damage can't, as far as I'm aware, because labels are actually where the data is kept. So it's really hard to fix that when it's broken. So we can't fix label damage. But most of the things can be fixed. So I don't know how this game missed the quality assurance team. And I'm being facetious when I say that, but I don't get how, this game missed being checked by us on the way in on the very simple do I think this will run test. It's not a very hard test. As a gamer, you sit there and you go, you know what? With all of the years I have played games and all the discs I've put into various systems, I think that I would put this in mine. This is a disc I would buy, more or less. So I don't understand how this missed it. So I was fairly confident that the disc was the problem. And then from there, so being confident, I decided to replace the disc. And pulled the new disc. And the dad turns to me and says, we're replacing the disc, but, I'm a little bit concerned it might not be the disc. Would you mind just testing the new disc on the old system just so we can be sure? And I said, what, I would be happy to. So I start up his old system. And it turns out that his old system will not start up. And I've seen this too. It's if you, I don't know what generally causes it. I believe it's just improper shutdown. So if you if you kind of fail to shut the system down properly, if you don't power it down properly, the system doesn't like to work, doesn't like to play nice. So this is something I'm kind of used to. So I'm sitting here thinking, so the error is, it'll say something like the system file data has been corrupted, it needs to be restored, and it takes a few minutes to restore the system file data. And so that's not a big deal, right? You just restore it and you're good. The glitch happens where occasionally it can't restore. Like, it'll sit there and it will restore for hours. Like, it keeps on restoring, restarting, and generally we defect those systems. Like, we send those back to Sony to be fixed because they've reached a point where it's just not going to work here. This is actually a pretty good synergy. Little Brimstone and Anti-Gravity Tears, because I have to hold and release anyways. I'm not going to go into the shop, so we're just going to move on. So his system wasn't working, and I did outright ask him, look, when you were telling me about the corrupt data, was this what you were talking about? And he goes, no. And so that was, my assumption was that, the data being corrupt that he was talking about was very specifically the system files from the very beginning, and that would have explained a lot, actually, if that was what he was talking about. But turns out it wasn't, so, there you go. What got worse is the kid was crying over it, and the thing was, I'm not going to necessarily say he was absolutely right, because I have absolute confidence that one of the reasons why he was having problems is because that disc had label damage. But he was probably right, too, in that his system was having trouble. We ended up replacing everything, and he got taken care of, and, I try to give, regardless of anything, I try to give every one of my customers the royal treatment, because, honestly, everybody should get taken care of when you go to some place. You should get as much personal treatment as, as one is able to. And, there's caveats about that, as there is about everything. If it's really busy, I might not be able to give you that personal treatment, and I do apologize, but I can only do so much. I'm only one man. But I would love to give you as much attention as I possibly can. So everybody gets that. But it's, it's just one of those things that I just kind of felt that, I kind of felt bad. Not only that, the kid had to cry over something that, frankly, not only there shouldn't have been a need to cry. Like, that situation should have never come up. Like, that's a horror story when it comes to this type of thing. We're talking video games, people. I mean, this should be a happy day. You came into a video game store, and we're getting you a game. You should be a happy person. Which doesn't always happen, unfortunately. Not everybody can walk out happy. But, it should be a happy day. So I felt really bad. But more than that, like as I said, more than just, kind of failure on my part to get this kid taken care of the way he should have been taken care of, was also just the upset on his behalf with the dad going, come on, man, this seems a bit ridiculous. So that's that story. And I like telling stories. I don't do it all that much when I'm recording, mostly because I forget. My problem is I have the same problem my family does. Like this is a family problem. It started with my grandmother and it's moved on up. I forget the stories I've told. Like I don't know. I couldn't tell you. Have I told you the one about? I don't know. And the problem is, if you have some friends and you're talking about it, you can actually use those words. Have I told you the one about? And they will be happy to tell you, yes, you have. It's been 7,000 times. Leave it alone already. They'll let you know. But, with a YouTube audience, there's no asking that question. I can't ask you guys. I end up recording the episode, and you guys, yell at me or something, saying, yes, you have, in fact, told that story 7 times in recent memory. Give it a rest, Nye. So, and I don't want that. I do not want that to be the way this, internet relationship between me and you runs. I don't want you to get bored of my story. So I tend to go in the wrong direction with it a little bit. I tend to, let's see, what's this? Full health? Okay. Probably hold on to the rosary bead. Not that it really matters, actually. Let's go with Liberty Cap. Because the rosary bead doesn't really matter all that much because I don't have the money for it in the first place. I have no idea where the secret room is going to be. Because it can't be here. Huh. Okay. But yeah, I try not to tell too many stories, but storytelling is one of the things I love. I love talking to people about, the stories I have, about things I've experienced. I love sharing that with you guys. And it's a thing I do at work all the time. We share stories, and it's because I like to be able to tell you guys, to share my experience with you. And, you know, it's the easiest way for me to tell you how good a game is, for example. You want to know how good a game is? It's so good, I have a story I can tell you about how good it is. And Krampus's head is actually an item I am really pleased to see. I will be honest with you. I want to... Where are we at? 14 minutes? I don't think we're not making this a speed run. This is not happening. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this slow and methodical, and we're going to, we're going to take our time with this one. So let's go see what's in our shop. Well, that's definitely going to happen. I will tell you right off the bat. So let's go ahead and drop a bomb. Excellent. And there's Humbling Bundle. Is there a tarot card in here? No. I think we're good then. Do I want to go to that? I don't want to go to that mob trap room. We're leaving. But yeah, I love telling stories. And the best example I can give you of that is something that happened back about 4 months before The Last of Us came out. And I got to admit, I didn't ever play The Last of Us. And this is a definite like failure on my part, because I know the game is amazing and won multiple awards, and it's fantastic. So I understand not playing The Last of Us is a failure as a gamer on my part. I believe me that I understand this. What ended up happening is one day at my job, Sony came in and they said, "Hey, we have this new game, The Last of Us, coming out. We know that you guys have been talking about this game like hell already, so you already know, a lot about it. But we would like to give you a chance to try it ahead of time. We'd like to let you try it early. Would you like to do it?" And of course, collectively, me and the other manager said yes. Now, keep in mind at this time, I was not a particularly high up manager. I was just this lowly third key. So I didn't really have the, there wasn't a lot that I could do. So this was just a very cool perk to my job that I was going to get to enjoy. So I and a bunch of other third key managers and a bunch of assistant managers and a bunch of store managers, we went to, well, the Hierophant's useless. We went to see, to see this demo. And it was very beautiful. Now, again, I have not actually played the game, so I could not tell you where in the game the demo was. I don't know. I couldn't tell you at what point the demo took place. We're just going to go ahead and Krampus's head him. See, I couldn't tell you at what point in the game the demo took place. I know it was very early. You had just gotten Ellie, and it was we were oohing and awing about how good the graphics looked. And keep in mind, this was an early alpha or a late alpha, something like that. So we were not seeing a complete product. We were seeing, basically the way the game was at that point. This was about, the game came out, it was June, I believe. So this was January to February. So, not exactly late in the, not exactly early in the development period, but not really close to finished product either. So, we were just oohing and awing over it, and there was so much trouble that my fellow managers were having with this game, and I never figured out exactly why they were having trouble, but they were treating the game like it was a lot more of like a Call of Duty style thing, a lot of run and gun action sort of deal, and that wasn't really working. The Last of Us doesn't really work that way. You can't Rambo it. So, and they were trying. which was funny, especially to me, because I kept on dying. And, you gotta remember, we're a bunch of gamers. We play the hell out of games. Like, this is our thing. This is our business. We game, So, when you have a game, so we get into this one level where there's 5 runners, the fast infected, and 1 clicker, the one that defines you. So we're in this level, and 5 managers fail to beat it. Just outright. Just unable to figure out how to win this level. And, color me astonished, because I'd like to think that, you'd figure out how to play this game. But no. They just couldn't figure out what to do. So, we have 5 managers. 1 runs up and shoots one of the walkers in the head. and gets, all the zombies on him. Oh, that worked. I'm happy about that. The next one, I forget what deal he did. Okay, I'll take the pact. Damage plus tears up. So this means we get to do this more often. So one shoots a zombie in the head and ends up aggroing the entire room. One ends up shivving the first zombie, being spotted when he does it, and aggroes the entire room. One chokes out a zombie, gets spotted when he does it, aggroes the entire room. You can kind of see a pattern here, I'm sure. So, just bad time. We were not making a very good showing for the company. That would be a telepills, teleporting me halfway across the map and getting me killed. Joy. Well, I was really enjoying anti-gravity anyways. So, definitely a bad thing. It actually got so bad that after 5 tries, the Sony rep goes, "Look, guys, we got to move along because I got more to show you, so let me just get you there." So okay, Scorpio again. So he manually, gets us to the next area, and he almost died. I'll be straight with you. He almost died doing it too. So I think that there was some understanding of, well, this level must be particularly hard, and it seems like The Last of Us could actually be a legitimately hard game. So I think that might have a lot to do with it. But we're doing things, and the thing that ended up happening was nobody wanted to play the next section. We got out of that area, and I guess everybody was kind of mortified that, once again, we're managers and we're screwing up. This is not how we're supposed to be doing things. Can we get it right, please? And so, they didn't want to step up. So I looked around for a little bit, and then I went, you know what? I'll play. So, and the thing was, I had kind of understood that this was not an action game. This was a stealth-based game, or at least, you could treat it as one. More of a puzzle box gameplay. You came across a room, and it was your job to figure out exactly how to get out of it, and what actions you had to take. So I was using Joel's Listen mode, which, if you haven't played the game, just allows you to kind of take a knee, and you look around, and it highlights where enemies are. And in hard mode, you don't get to do this for obvious reasons. This wasn't hard mode. So, this would tell you where enemies were, so you could plan ahead. So I was using that a lot. So, we get down to a subway. And if you've ever been to, like, a New York subway, or at least seen them in movies or something like that, you know where I was. Basically, it was not because it was famous or anything, but because you have an idea of because you'll have an idea of exactly what I was dealing with. So we were in a subway terminal, where the turnstiles are, and where you leave the subway. You go through the turnstiles and you go up. You leave the turnstiles and you go upstairs, and that gets you to the surface. They always have a lot of shops and gift shops, and the little convenience stores, things like that. So I was entering from the subway side, and we were trying to work our way through. And I was listen moded, and upon listening, found there was something like 11 infected in the area. That's a lot of them, and we were having trouble with 5. So, we were trying to figure out what to do. And my compatriots looked down, and they saw that there was a shotgun on the ground. And they're like, "Oh, man, get the shotgun, get the shotgun." And I looked at them, and I said, "Guys, haven't we already proven that the gun is not the way to go? But it's a shotgun, it must be good." So I said, okay. So I start to head out to get the shotgun, and then it turns out there's a clicker that I didn't see. Just standing there. And the clicker, as soon as I start to move for the shotgun, the clicker starts to move for me. And it didn't notice me, was the thing. It was patrolling, essentially. And it just so happened that it was patrolling in the direction of the shotgun. So I immediately backpedal and back off. Now the clicker passes the shotgun, and I go forward again, and the clicker turns around. So the clicker's just going to patrol over the shotgun. There's nothing I can do. I can't get to it. So I'm like, okay, well, so much for that. So I'm trying to think of, what am I going to do to get through this room? Because I have 11 infected, 11 fungal walkers, whatever you call them. 11 of these things to kill. I have a pistol with like 4 shots in it, but as soon as I do this, they're going to be all over me. There's not going to be any winning that. So I need another option. I need something. So I was trying to think of, what can I use? What can I use to get rid of all these guys? And I looked inside of my kit, and I had a couple of bottles of gasoline, and I had some rags, and so I had some Molotov cocktail ingredients, so I made some Molotov cocktails. And then threw a bottle. Oh. Ended up throwing a bottle and to gather their attention, and threw 2 Molotov cocktails at the variety of zombies. Ended up killing all 11 of them. And I was feeling really good at myself. I got a round of applause from my fellow managers, so they thought it was good too. And that was the good stuff, right? So we continue moving, and I'm being very careful. And the Sony rep is like, well, you don't have to really be all that careful because you killed basically everybody here. And I said, oof, I don't want to die. I'm going to take my time. It's like, okay, fine. So I was taking my time. And as I start to head towards the exit, he goes, hey, this is actually the end of the demo, and there's something else I want to show off. Could you go into this shop because I want you to pick up this item so we can show the destruction physics? So I said, okay. So I start heading in, and I'm still listen mode. He's like, dude, you don't have to listen mode. It's fine. You killed everything. I'm like, man, you're going to get me killed. So I go into the shop, and I just casually press the listen mode button anyways, just because I thought it would be a good idea. And lo and behold, in this shop that he wants me to go into is a zombie. And moreover, the lead pipe he wants me to pick up, or whatever it was, I can't remember if it's a lead pipe or a 2x4, the thing that he wants me to pick up, the zombie is staring at it. They are goose guarding it, to use the old kid expression for when you're playing tag and someone is standing next to the oxen-free tree. Yeah, they're goose guarding it. And I looked at him and I said, man, you just want to get me killed, don't you? He's like, well, this is the end of the demo anyway, so if you get killed, it's not a big deal. And I said, well... So I said, okay. So I went to grab the pipe. And what really impressed me at this point was that as I grabbed the pipe, the Ellie, who was behind me at the time, leans over my shoulder, aims the gun at the zombie, and shoots it in the face. Her gun, not mine. And normally this would be a bad thing, since we call a bunch of zombies, but I killed all the zombies, there weren't any. And the thing is, one shot off the pistol was not going to kill this zombie, right? It just wasn't going to happen. That's not how this works. But what she was doing was not... She wasn't trying to kill the zombie. She was distracting it, so I had a chance to finish up whatever I was doing. And I picked up the pipe and beat the crap out of the zombie. But what really impressed me was that the AI was actually actively helping, which was really impressive. I haven't seen such a good, helpful AI since Elizabeth in BioShock Infinite, which, so there's that. Now, I tell people this all the time when they ask me, is The Last of Us good? Because I want to, kind of inflict upon them the story of what taught me that this game was going to be amazing. And it's not my style of game. I've as much as I hate to say it, I haven't played a Naughty Dog title since Jak and Daxter. So, I have to apologize to any people who are fans of Uncharted, fans of The Last of Us. I just haven't played their games. Not because I'm not interested. They're good games. I just haven't gotten to it. So, I tell people this to let them know, hey, it's not a game I played, but this is why I know that this game is amazing and deserves your attention. Because in 20 minutes of us playing, or 30 minutes of a bunch of managers screwing around with this game, this is what I gathered. So partly it's a storytelling thing in that direction, but it's also a storytelling thing in another direction. So you're playing the very beginning of this demo. This was way back at the beginning, and the game is introducing you a new concept, the new enemy type, the clicker. Because runners, like we all know runners. They're the zombie that run after you. This is not a huge this is not a huge thing. This is not a huge and mysterious zombie. But a clicker, though, an enemy that has no eyes but detects you by echolocation and detects you by sound, that's pretty terrifying. That means you can't make a sound. You gotta be silent. And humans are really noisy creatures. We're not good at silent, so it's kind of a scary thing. And what I really loved was the way they introduced the concept of the clicker. Ellie hears it, gets scared, pulls you behind a desk, and the clicker walks up and stands kind of above the desk, clicking. Just doing that clicking sound. And Ellie has to throw a bottle to get its attention. The clicker runs off after the bottle. And this was teaching you several concepts at the same time. This was teaching you the concept of the clicker and what it does. And it was also teaching you how you handle a clicker. You make sound, and it goes after it, and that's that, right? So, cool, great tutorialization. But what really caught my attention was how much the clickers reminded me of velociraptors. Because they hold their arms up a little bit T-Rex style, you know, they, anything interesting? No? And they click, and what really reminded me of was watching Jurassic Park as a kid, and it was the velociraptors in the kitchen scene. I don't know if you remember the scene, but it's the scene where the kids are in the kitchen, there's a couple of velociraptors, and the kids are hiding behind the kitchen counters, and, you know, one throws a ladle to grab the attention of the velociraptors, and whole thing. That's what it reminded me of. It felt kind of exactly like that same sort of, you know, hiding from it, and, you know, trying to make noise to make it so it wouldn't detect you, or to distract it. Same concept. So much so that I'm kind of curious if there was if this was actually like an intentional callback. But you know, that's what I tell people. You know, if you want to know what a clicker is, you know, think Jurassic Park, think the Velociraptors, and people know exactly what I'm talking about. And yeah, that's not like the most amazing story. You know, I'm not going to say that that's me being, you know, telling my magnum opus or something like that. But I do so love describing things to people in that way, and, you know, trying to call upon their own experiences, and, you know, comparing and contrasting, and it's super fun, especially when you get that dawning realization on someone's face of, oh, I know what you're talking about. That's so much fun. I really love that. Okay, I'm gonna die here. This is gonna happen. Okay, I got the spider. Okay, do not die to this spider now that you have successfully, you know, defeated the Mullabooms. Okay, so I think the option here is probably blank card. Not that I have anything to mimic, but I have nothing to use the battery on either. So, you know, it's not as if I'm it's not as if I'm making that kind of decision. But I think the blank card could be really useful if I can get a card. So let's go with that. But yeah, story time with Nye. It was really truly fun. I don't know, I couldn't tell you why I haven't played The Last of Us. I can say I know why I haven't played Uncharted. I got Uncharted back when the PS3 first came out. It actually came with the PS3, which now that I think back on that, you know, bundling Uncharted, that was like bundling Wii U with the Wii, like one of the biggest games on the system, and you bundled it with it. I don't know what Sony exec said that, but that was obviously a stupid decision. Or maybe it wasn't, because it got Naughty Dog, you know, on their feet for the next 3 games in the series, so maybe I'm wrong. But yeah, it was just weird that they did that, and I didn't really like Uncharted. And this is years later that I'm saying this, but this was a while ago, and I was playing, you know, I was more interested in playing Fallout 3 than playing Uncharted. These are both terrible, but we'll take them anyways because they're free. You know, this is years later that I'm saying this, but I didn't really like it. And I don't know what it is. I know where I stopped. I stopped very early on in Uncharted. I was in some sort of fight where I had no gun. I was fighting off against like 5 guys with guns. And this section just really irritated the hell out of me. It just got my ire. Just because it felt so needlessly difficult so early on in the game. And I might have been playing on too hard of a difficulty for me at the time. I'd probably like it if I went back to it now, but it kind of colored my perceptions of the game a little bit, right? Just the whole, you know, I wish I didn't have to deal with this right now. And I just didn't want to go back. And I think that it's a lot of people, you know, do that. You know, you have a game or you have something that you didn't like it the first time, so you have a really hard time justifying trying it again. I feel that this is probably one of those things, and that, honestly, I'd probably like Uncharted if I tried it, but I just can't bring myself to try it, given how much I didn't like it in the first place. I don't know. It's very hard to say as well, given that, you know, how late in the game it is. You know, we're on Uncharted 4. Well, eventually will be, at least. Deal with the devil's gonna... Thank you, sir. Thank you. May I have another? Okay. So we didn't get, didn't walk away with 9 lives, unfortunately. So we didn't quite get that lucky. But this should be a really good series of items. The Fear Shot totally am going to love this. Piercing shot, multiple damage ups. This should help out a ton. Okay, so now we have a repeatable Empress card, which hopefully I won't need, but, you know, a repeatable Empress card. I'd love to have a different type of repeatable card, a repeatable, hell, I don't know, repeatable credit card. There's a lot of things I could be getting. I'd love to be able to get something. Oh, and god damn it. Just an immediate bomb off that guy. Okay, guys, that's it for me. I'll catch you guys next time.